Welcome to another edition of Self-Defense Across America. Okay, so we start today in Madison, Wisconsin, where we have our victim was unharmed and our suspect was a 20-year-old male and he was injured. 4 people were hospitalized after stabbings and a shooting on Madison's southwest side Sunday night. At about 10:20 p.m. Sunday, multiple people called 911 to report hearing a gunshot fired during a large fight in the 2100 block of Atterbury Circle. Officers found a 20-year-old man who sustained a gunshot wound that was considered life-threatening. He remained in critical condition Monday morning. Officers were told some of those involved were at a nearby home, and when they neared the home, they could hear screaming coming from inside. They entered and found 2 young children in the basement, whom they took outside to safety. Police then found multiple people upstairs who had sustained stab wounds. 3 people who were stabbed were taken to the hospital for treatment of their injuries and are expected to survive. Investigators believe that a man pulled a knife during a fight and was shot by one of the people he stabbed, Fryer said, adding that a knife and a gun were recovered at the scene. No arrests have been made as the investigation continues. So this sounds like there was all these people were in this house and a big fight broke out, and one of the people had a gun and started stabbing people, or one of the people had a knife and started stabbing people, and someone there with a gun shot the man who was stabbing people. So this is a prime example of why it's important to have a firearm. If nobody there had that and that guy kept stabbing people, this could be a completely different story. And it sounds like everyone is in pretty good condition following this, and that might not have been the case otherwise. All right, so let's go to Melbourne, Florida, where our victim was unharmed, and we have 3 suspects, and one of them was killed. It looks like they're all adult males. Early Sunday morning, according to police, a West Melbourne homeowner shot an intruder breaking into their home, killing one of them. Detectives are now working to find out what led up to the shooting. Several residents at a complex say the shooting happened around 2 a.m. Sunday, and recall police cars screaming in. One told us that the complex is family friendly and nothing like this has happened in years. According to West Melbourne police, multiple people, possibly armed, forced their way into one of the apartment units. It was then that the homeowner opened fire with their weapon multiple times, hitting 2 of the intruders. One was pronounced dead at the hospital, and the other showed up at the hospital and is receiving treatment. I'm against guns. I think we really need to take a look at it, and we're not. I just stay at home, stay out of the way, said a neighbor. Others who live in the reserves in Melbourne said that this intrusion shows the importance of gun ownership. Well, you can see that this guy breaks in, or these guys break in and end up getting shot by the homeowner. And even in that instance, you have one neighbor saying they're against guns, and the other one saying that they think guns are important. So the guy that's saying he's against guns is saying that in the wake of somebody breaking into this guy's house, and the only way that he got them to stop was to use the firearm. So that shows where we are in our country right now. Okay, let's go to Manchester, Kentucky, where we have an adult male victim who is unharmed, and our suspect, Jason E. Smith, he's 44 years old. He was killed, and this looks like another home invasion. On Saturday, the Clay County Sheriff's Office responded to a notification of shots fired in Clay County after CCSO arrived at the shooting on US 421 North in Manchester. They requested assistance from the Kentucky State Police Post 11. Troopers say that Jason E. Smith, 44 years old, of Manchester, was reportedly breaking into a home when a physical altercation broke out between Smith and the man staying at the home. The altercation ended in Smith being shot and taken to the hospital in Manchester by Clay EMS. Smith was later flown to Albert B. Chandler Hospital in Lexington, where he was pronounced dead. Smith's body is scheduled to be examined by the medical examiner office in Louisville. Troopers said the case will be presented to a Clay County grand jury. So they didn't rule this one self-defense right away. The guy was breaking in, and there was a physical altercation before the shooting, and they're not calling it self-defense right away. So there's either more to that story, or Manchester, Kentucky does not believe in your right to self-defense. All right, so let's go to Pine Bluff, Arkansas at the Southern Edge convenience store. We got our victim this time is an adult female who was unharmed, and our suspect was injured. The suspect was a male homeless man. A shooting at a gas station Thursday may result in no arrests, according to Pine Bluff police. They say around noon, a woman shot at a man authorities describe as a regular beggar. The shooting happened outside the Southern Edge convenience store on South Olive Street. The woman who pulled the trigger was taken to Pine Bluff Police Department and interviewed by detectives. The man who was shot was taken to the hospital where he's expected to live. Pine Bluff police said the lady was getting gas when a man approached her begging for money. She eventually pulled out a gun out of her car and shot him. Let's see, I didn't know exactly what it was, but I knew it had something to do bad because I seen some ambulances and some fire trucks. That was some guy. I skipped over a bunch of the story. This is a very busy gas station, as you can tell. As of Thursday, the woman behind the trigger is not going to be arrested. Police say she was questioned by detectives, and the case is being sent to the Jefferson County Prosecutor's Office for further investigation to see if charges will be filed. Alred's advice for anyone on either side of the situation is try to be a good person. The Southern Edge truck shop has security cameras, including at least one facing the pumps. They may provide the information that seems to be missing. One question is how close the man got to the woman and if he did anything more than ask for money. This is a developing story. Further updates are expected. So I skipped over a lot of that because it's just people talking. So if it was interrupted story, people were just like people that were witnesses saying stuff about trucks coming and stuff. So this woman is approached by a homeless person and felt the need to go to her car while she was pumping the gas, go into her car and grab a gun and shoot him. This one could go either way as far as if she gets any charges. And like it said on there, it depends. They're going to look at the video to see how close he actually got to her. But if she went into her car and grabbed the gun, likely it was more than just, asking for money from 5 feet away, I'd imagine. Okay, we go to Oneonta, Highland Lake, Alabama, where we got an adult male victim who was unharmed. Wow, another suspect that was killed. 29-year-old William Cody Vaughn. And the suspect was killed in this one. A suspected burglar was fatally shot by a Blount County resident during a reported break-in earlier this week. The slain suspect has been identified as 29-year-old William Cody Vaughn. The shooting happened on Wednesday, and Vaughn died on Thursday. On Wednesday, deputies responded to a 911 call for attempted breaking and entering to an address in the Highland Lake area. Vaughn, authorities said, had been breaking in and attempting to break into multiple locations in and around the Sugarland Lake area. Deputies were responding to calls as they came out and actively looking for Vaughn as they patrolled and responded to the calls. Vaughn walked to County Road 29 where he saw a woman checking her mail. The woman noticed Vaughn and decided to go back into her house and get the mail later. She then saw that he was quickly walking towards her. The woman went into her house and locked the door. Authorities say Vaughn entered her front porch and tried to get into the home. The resident called 911 and deputies were immediately alerted. As deputies responded from the Sugarland Lakes area, the victim's home, the woman's husband returned home from work. He got it there a few minutes before deputies got on the scene. Sheriff's officials said the husband discovered Vaughn had made entry into his personal vehicle. He then confronted Vaughn, not knowing what had transpired, and that his wife had called 911 about the attempted burglary. When Vaughn turned to confront the homeowner, Vaughn brandished a firearm. The homeowner then pulled out his own firearm and shot Vaughn one time. Just as the homeowner fired, a deputy pulled into the driveway. Deputies immediately began life-saving measures on Vaughn. Until medics arrived on the scene, Vaughn was airlifted to UAB Hospital where he died at 9:42 p.m. Authorities said they don't expect any charges to be filed in connection to Vaughn's death. Vaughn had multiple arrests and several convictions over the past decade for charges including burglary and theft. Wow, so this guy's just kind of walking around looking for trouble. And he comes across this woman who quickly runs into her house. So he must have looked like somebody that she knew she needed to be afraid of. And like, ironically, the husband comes home, catches him breaking into his car, and shoots him right as the police show up. And it doesn't look like any charges are going to be filed in this one, as they shouldn't be. Okay, so we go to Bessemer, Alabama, where we have an adult male victim who was injured. Wow, another one killed. Our suspect, 18-year-old Charlei Angelo Jordan. And this looks like another home invasion, and this one was killed again. Okay, the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office is investigating a deadly shooting that happened during a burglary Wednesday morning. The Jefferson County Coroner's Office has identified the person shot and killed as Charlei Angelo Jordan of Birmingham. He was 18. Deputies were called to the 6600 block of Newbridge Cove and unincorporated Western Jefferson County around 6:45 a.m. So this was right at like early in the morning. When they got to the scene, deputies found Jordan's body. The initial investigation suggests Jordan was hiding inside the home and was discovered by the homeowner. Authorities said Jordan began to leave the home but was confronted by another person who was sleeping in a room near the exit. Witnesses said that shots were exchanged between Jordan and the second resident. Both were hit by gunfire. The male resident was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No arrests have been made. Okay, so this guy's like hiding in these people's house, so who knows how long he was in there. The homeowner found him, and this guy died. This didn't say he died. So the homeowner found him, and he goes, the guy looks, it seems like he's going to leave, but he runs into somebody else that lives there, and an exchange of gunfire leads to this guy's death and an injury to one of the other residents. And no charges should be filed in this one.